After 7 years of writing all these introductions, I realized I've just been saying the same thing over and over. So I think for comedy, what we're going to do is I'm just going to demonstrate the concept of comedy. Why can't Naruto watch scary movies? He's too sensitive. Huh? What kind of shoes does Naruto wear? Sneakers. Huh? Okay, how about this? Madam Web. Here are your best comedy nominees for 2023.
戦国さんごめん携帯置きっぱにしていやー、御霊様のおかげで生活がすげえ快適になったよな。
レクイエムを聞き、とこしえの眠りに沈むがいい。とりゃ
どこからどう見てもハッピーで愉快な父親だ。
クソダサい。なえる。今度忍んで会いにいらして。
行きます。なら
お兄様。
I have it on the mind because the pod just did an episode on it.
I was wondering if you like did that on purpose, knowing that.
Okay, announce the winners. Pock, listen to Pock.
Sorry. You go first, Panic.
Oh, me? What was it?
No, it's your turn. Yeah.
Oh, but what was I supposed to say? What is the full
I'll
line?
fucking do it. And the jury winner is Uncle from Another World. All right, now go, Panic.
And the public winner is Spy X Family Season 2.
Spy X Family, that's right. Good year for comedy, I think. I kind of want to talk about Uncle from Another World because I didn't get to watch it because it was so scuffed. You know, it wasn't some kind of big delay or something.
So it came out summer 2022, and then the studio said, "Oh, whoopsie! Looks like everyone in the studio just died of COVID. I guess we're going to postpone this magically for 6 months." So it actually came out in 2023, technically, I guess. One of those circumstances, but yeah,
We're all about
congratulations.
technicalities here. Yeah, I don't like. I find it so surprising because when I first saw the key visual or whatever, it horrified me. I'm not watching this. But is it actually good? Like, is it funny? Like, is it an isekai?
I would say so. Yeah, it's one of those isekai that we only get one of these every few years where it actually has a new take on doing subversive humor in the isekai genre. Because obviously now, like most isekais or these reincarnation stories or whatever, they all like to be self-aware and be like, oh, whoa, it's just like one of those isekai stories. I'm in another world, crazy. But this one presents basically like a second-person view. This guy has come back from his isekai adventure, and now he is showing it to others, and they're kind of reacting to it and living through it vicariously.
Oh, so it's not actually set in the other world. It's in our world.
Yeah.
Right. So he will just offhandedly mention some big heroic thing he did because he doesn't care about it at all. And the nephew will ask to see it, and he has a magic power to like show what he did. And everybody is stunned by his feats. Meanwhile, I think his only goal ever was to, I don't remember
what his goal was either.
Yeah, he never cared about meeting anybody or making friends or like living in the world. It was just to get home, I think, because he wanted to play more video games.
Which is convenient because he's also extremely ugly.
I mean, you don't have to tell me.
Like they show us that he's not like conventionally attractive in any way, but the way the people in this fantasy world treat him is like everybody calls him an orc face. The first people he meets want to kill him for how ugly he is. Like they lay it on thick.
Jake, is this along the same lines of what the jury thought? Was it kind of like, a unique take on the isekai genre? What else really appealed to you about the show?
In Uncle from Another World, it is a good example of what we could call like a frame story. where the actual isekai part is in the past and we're viewing it through Uncle's memories. But part of the story also takes place in the real world where Uncle is talking with his nephew and his female friend Takafumi and Sumika. And we felt that it struck a really good balance with showing like the good bits. And part of the thing about framing it like that is that we can kind of cut out some of the crust from the story. And it really focuses on like showing like the good parts of the narrative that are funny. And both the characters in the real world, with the uncle in particular, but also the nephew, as well as like the elf and the ice girl, were pretty compelling characters. And so it started off really strong. Like the first episode, we get introduced to the elf who's a tsundere, but critically, Uncle doesn't know about that character archetype because he was sent canonically to that world before Evangelion came out. So he thinks
No,
that
it was after Ava came out, but he doesn't realize that Asuka is a tsundere.
Yeah, he's aware of Asuka and just thinks that her and Kaji is a perfect couple.
It's like a weird meta element compared along with it. It's great.
Yeah, so another like strong hook for Isekai Uncle is that because his knowledge of he's an otaku, but from the 90s, and he has no knowledge of current day trends, so he has to essentially be taught all of these things.
Now, I like our rankings just because, I mean, maybe this will come off as a little like elitist and whatever, but like Spy Family, good show, fine show, right? I was talking to Myrna the other day, and we were like, Spy Family, it's like a Marvel movie, right? It'll get like a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes, but Rotten Tomatoes isn't based off of like overall quality. It's based off of like how many people think it's above a 5 out of 10, right? Like it's good. You can't argue that it's not good, but it's not like cool. It's not like creative and like out there. I want something that'll grip me. But at the end of the day, it's great watching Anya and her antics. Don't you guys agree?
Right. Sure. Although I will say, I actually heavily disagree with what you said early on when you said that this was a good year for comedy.
But I heavily disagree with you.
Yes, but no.
Well, you're right about Spy X Family. I don't disagree that Spy X Family is a fine show. It makes sense that it won the public, but I feel like this was a bad year for comedy because every year you would expect at least one comedy to break through and be, a widely discussed show. I mean, 2022 was an incredible year. We had Bocchi, we had the first season of Spy X Family, we had Dress Up Darling, we had Do It Yourself, we had so many just high profile shows that were also comedies. This year, I mean, we're kind of feasting on crumbs here. Like we got some sequels, Spy X Family, Konosuba, the spinoff, although it wasn't, like a grand return for Konosuba this year, unfortunately. Horimiya was fine. Urusei Yatsura is a remake, so there wasn't a lot of, and the other stuff, it's like there wasn't a lot of presence from them. Like I don't think a lot of people were saying, oh yeah, 100 Girlfriends, that's like anime of the year right there. Although I might contend so because I loved it a lot.
It's extremely funny, but yeah, it has a way of keeping people away, I think, and not see the comedy very much.
Yeah, it's very indulgent and tropey. But the other show that really catches my attention is Kamikatsu, because I tried watching that and I got to the CG monster and I'm like, I'm not watching this show. And then I kind of look up the reactions, and I feel like people laughed at this show more than they laughed with it. So I would like some insight as to how this got number 2. Did I miss something?
Yeah, so Kamikatsu is definitely, looking at our top 4, I would say it's definitely the most contentious. Or I could see how people would really bounce off this show. Like it has the bad CG, and however or intentional or not it is, the show kind of embraces it in a way that you kind of get used to it being an element of this absurd comical world, especially in tandem with the fairly unhinged and explicit humor, where it's like kind of pushing the boundaries with its explicitness. It feels like it all fits together. And it also does have as you go on with the show, a bit more artistic creativity. That we would agree that the first few episodes are a bit slow to get off the ground, but after that, like, it has a lot more like creative, like vignettes, like little bits and stuff like that. Add a lot to the appeal, and yeah, we just feel that it was funny. And after if you stick with it, and if you're not completely turned off by the very off-putting and like weird-looking CG monster, then yeah, it kind of grows on you.
It's the Mayo Iga argument. It's the Handshakers argument.
Well, Handshakers is just the greatest show ever.
Yeah. There's a bit of silence because I was trying to remember how the OP goes for some reason, but I can only think of what's that one show? It has like a Linkin Park OP.
I don't know, honestly.
Sounds great.
I do know that the singer coughs in the Handshakers OP. That's how you know it's peak. I don't know any other OPs where the guy coughs.
That's good tech, dude.
The courage to cough.
Yeah.
Now, we forced you guys to watch Tear Moon Empire as a joke. That's our own sort of comedy. How was that? Does it really deserve 8th? Is it bad?
I mean, it's not like a terrible show. I thought it was just mid overall. It's a reincarnation story. If you have seen Hamifura, and I'm not sure what the English title for that is, Otome Game, Death Flag, Villainous, whatever, the Bacarina show. My Life as a Villainous, yeah, super long title. It's like the same thing as that, where this girl is the princess of this powerful region, and then it gets overthrown, she becomes imprisoned, and then later executed. Then she restarts from when she's 12 years old and has the foresight of the future. So her solution is, oh, I don't want to be executed. I don't want these bad things to happen to me. So I'm going to be a good person moving forward. So it's just her being nice and wholesome and helping other people out and trying to lead the country in all of the right ways. And everyone loves her for that. So it's basically the same thing as, sure.
It's basically the plot of Madam Web. True.
What the hell, dude? One of the things that really kind of sticks out to me on this list is that you mentioned the Megumin spinoff earlier. And to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that it's ranked above Spy Family on the jury side, just because I thought it was so mid. For me, it didn't capture any of the magic that Konosuba had. Considering like a lot of Konosuba is the kind of interaction between the characters, and just Megumin and Yunyun alone aren't able to do that for me. I legitimately fell asleep in a lot of the episodes. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
It was a huge letdown, I think, because like you say, it's about the interplay with the characters, and when you take like Megumin is funny in the context of the other characters trying to rein her in. You take that just on her own and give her 12 episodes. It gets old fast.
Well, actually, wasn't it 10 or was it really 12?
I think it was.
I was trying to be funny.
Well, because Konosuba is 10. So
what a fraud! It actually was 12 episodes.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, like the Megumin spinoff, like it was just okay. It was funny early on with the school, and I was really hoping that was just the entire show. But then they moved out of that, and then they kind of do this like plot with these churches, and it's like, oh, the priests here are creepy lolicons. Wow, real world commentary. It's like, all right, very, very clever, guys. Isn't that what an original joke, everybody?
Gotta cut yourself on that edge.
Yeah, and it just like it just didn't feel quite so inventive with its humor as OG Konosuba was.
But aren't you excited for all the other spin-offs? The Darkness spin-off, Chris has a spin-off. That guy in a red jumpsuit has a spin-off.
I was not aware of any of these, and I am the biggest Konosuba fan in the world.
I think his name is Dust. He has a spin-off.
Who is that? That's not a real character.
Yes, it is. He's a blonde guy in a red jumpsuit who's in the inn a lot. That is it. He has books. He got novels.
I hate franchises.
What did you guys think about it, Jake?
So with Konosuba, we definitely agree that the strongest part of the show is at the beginning with the school,
the Chunibyo Academy.
Yeah, just that you take Megumin's personality and kind of fracture it out, and it's like, oh, here's an entire village built around her like weird delusional like sort of behavior, and that was excellently delivered. And in Spy X Family, we felt that it was pretty strong. Some jurors felt that the Crew's arc was a little bit longer than necessary. So with Konosuba and Spy X Family, we felt that they both had issues with like the length of certain arcs or pacing, whereas like Konosuba has like a really, really strong opening. And it's still funny, like the interactions between Megumin and Yun Yun are pretty good all throughout, but it isn't as strong as the school, whereas Spy X Family like kind of goes back and forth. It focuses on different characters. The Crew's arc, while it is good as a change of pace, it kind of goes on a little long. But it was close. Like three of us felt that Konosuba was above Spy, and two of us felt that the opposite. So,
Well, something about Spy X Family that I could see maybe putting it below is that it's very even. It's steady going, right? The peaks aren't as high, but the valleys also aren't very low. It's just very steady.
yeah, that's a good point. That is something that we kind of seem to value about shows that have like, if the peaks are really high, we're a little bit more willing to, speaking for myself, but there are other jurors who feel this way, that if the peaks are really good, that it's a little bit easier to like kind of overlook some of the dips in quality.
Mhm.
And Konosuba definitely has like really good scenes, like from the beginning, or like when she first casts her explosion spell and stuff like that, whereas Spy X Family is like very even.
Yeah.
But
It's
maybe
It's like I don't think of Spy X Family as like laugh out loud funny ever. Like no like standalone super funny bits. I think the most funny I can remember is Yor and what's her name? Fiona? Playing
I believe
tennis.
so.
Their tennis match. That was great.
It's so interesting how that is, where in other categories we, being inconsistent like that will knock a show. Like if you have
Right.
something with inconsistent animation, no matter how high the peaks are, everyone's going to focus on the valleys. But with comedy, it's more lenient in that way.
Yeah, and if you look at our for the jury, the top two shows of Uncle from Another World and Kamikatsu, I would definitely say those two shows definitely have a lot of peaks to them. Uncle has a lot of iconic scenes. It even comes right out of the gate. Episode 1 has the wedding ring scene with the elf, which is kind of like iconic to the entire show. And then Kamikatsu maybe has a few more valleys just because of the weird way that its production is presented. But there's a lot of like very hilarious things that, like you were saying, that where Spy X Family is like very like kind of amusing and entertaining throughout. Kamikatsu has things that are genuinely hilarious, but then there's things that don't quite work. Like when it tries to get really serious, it's a little weird, but like it's kind of willing to overlook those things just because of how much it entertained us at its best moments. And same with Konosuba.
Speaking of being entertained, it has been a lovely conversation. I had a great time talking with y'all in BB-8 and C-3PO, and I want to thank you for coming by.
I'm just disappointed that the actual best comedy, Spy Classroom, wasn't represented here. What a bunch of frauds.
Well, I'll talk to someone about that.
All right, thank you.
Spy Classroom isn't Spy X Family. That's
No, they have
they're
nothing
not-
in
they're
common
too-
aside
what?
from being spies. I guess.
Also
Yeah,
not Classroom
spies.
of the Elite.
And having hot goth girlfriends.
Classroom of the Elite is a different show.
Also, yes.
What?
Yeah.
Too many
Don't speak that
classrooms,
na-
too many
Don't speak that
spies.
show's name in my presence.
We're moving on with the show.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Hi.
Tutaroo.